lives. For more information, visit homefiresprinkler.org. Fire spreads quickly. A fire can turn deadly in under 2 minutes. Synthetic materials burn quickly and release deadly poisonous smoke. High-risk individuals in home fires are small children, elderly adults, those with disabilities, and pets. Fire sprinklers protect your home and family and activate automatically to control the fire, thereby giving everyone a chance to escape. The best protection is having working smoke alarms, fire sprinklers, and a practiced fire escape plan. Information about Honolulu's ordinances relating to fire safety is available at fire.honolulu.gov. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department?
Chair, I think probably maybe appropriate to recognize Police Week. That's thank you for your service and thank you for this community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry.
Anything else for the fire department? Got excited there.
Excuse me, I'm a little distracted.
No.
Very well. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
report. And now, without further ado, during Police Week, can we have a report from the Honolulu Police Department?
Good evening, board. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, board and members of the audience. I'm Lieutenant Sanford Yu. I'll present the stats for April. One moment. For the month of April, there was 1 motor vehicle theft compared to 3 for the previous month. 5 burglaries compared to 2. Thefts were down. There were 18 compared to 20. Motor vehicle break-ins were down. There were 3 compared to 7. And there were 2 robberies compared to 0 for the previous month. We're willing to answer any questions at this time.
On the agenda, there was a question for the police department asking for an update from a previous question. And those were the Kāne hotspots for accidents and noisy sport motorcycle speeding on the H3. Do you have anything to share?
As far as the H3, we're continuing weekly enforcement. Numerous citations are issued each week for excessive speeding, driving without a license, no motor vehicle insurance, and numerous other citations. As far as hotspots, there are no general hotspots that stick out to us or that have more accidents compared to other locations. So we don't have one particular area that has one or more accidents compared to a different particular street or area.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions for the Honolulu Police Department? I see Mr. Sakamoto. And hey, Donald, we'll start with you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you. This is Donald Sakamoto. I sent an email to Captain Campbell at your district on Monday concerning speeding on Mother's Day, 1:14 in the morning. There was high-speed cars turning around exit 11 by Kamehameha Highway by H3, then turning back on exit 11 going back to west side, maybe 25 cars. And then the next morning on the 13th, there was motorcycles going back. I called 911 on both times. So, but kudos for you for trying to do your best to control the noise and speeding vehicles and motorcycles. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the Honolulu Police Department?
But Chair, I guess it's time for me to say thank you for the fire department for the report.
Go ahead, please.
And then to thank you for the police department for their service. It is Honolulu is Police Week this week, and appreciate your service and within the community and keeping us safe. And that's all I have. Right? We give a round of applause for our police department.
Chair, Mr. Shigo, David.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to So the HPD, thank you for the response. That was my question about hotspots within Kāne. It just wanted to know if there was any that stood out in your guys' folks' mind. Being that there isn't, I just want to appreciate,
So
show my
maybe-
appreciation for the response.
Perhaps you didn't, did you hear the response?
Yeah, no, I'm saying thank you for the response. You know, there wasn't any hotspots. Thanks for following up and providing that response.
Thank you. Moving on to Marine Corps Base Hawaii.
Good night, board and audience. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you, sir. Is there a representative from Marine Corps Base Hawaii? Windward Community College, I believe, is having a graduation today. Is there a report from Windward Community College? Okay, they're excused. Well, now we move on to board briefs and discussion. The first one is a complete streets update. Renee, are you online? Very well. Moving on to an OHA strategic plan briefing. Kaimu Molstein. And I know you're here. Thank you.
Kaluna ho'omalu, Mr. Chair. Amika ke komike ke ia wahi neighborhood board nei me ke kaya ulu o ke ko'olau poko o Kāne ohe nei veli na ke aloha aloha kākou a pauloa. My name is Hailama Farden, not Kaimo. Kaimo is the one who booked us, and I guess she got moved in there. So my name is Hailama Farden. I am the Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And what I thought I'd do is, rather than give you an in-depth review of our strategic plan, I will tell you where you can see it, and then I'll share a high level with you today. Please excuse my back, which is kind of awkward in our culture, but I know I need to address the chair. So, mahalo nui.
First, you can have this way, you can have, and then you can address everybody.
Thank you. Mahalo nui. I will say I'm born and raised in Waianae, but I really was born in a hospital like most of us. I was raised in Waianae by my grandparents. So I'm not from the Kaneohe or Ko'olau area. But I hope it pleases you that I chose to come to this neighborhood board because we could choose anywhere. And so our various senior directors, our lead administrators are going to the various neighborhood boards with Hawaiian or high native Hawaiian community members, because we represent our beneficiaries and we want to make sure that we're present in our communities. We have a tentative plan to come to the neighborhood boards meetings quarterly, and in some cases we've been asked to go monthly. So I first wanted to begin today by actually introducing myself and introducing why we're here. It is important that we're very present in our Native Hawaiian communities. And thank you, board members, for your service to our Native Hawaiian communities also. It is so important to understand, well, the land on which we stand, the air in which we breathe, was shared by so many generations of kupuna way before we came. And so many of the folks here are descendants of those kupuna. But we're also here to make partnerships with even the non-native Hawaiian community because we live together as a family. I want to introduce to you one of our trustees who's has been very active, attending many of the presentations in the neighborhood board. This is Trustee Kalehina Akaka.
Mahalo. We were tuning in virtually. We have 2 neighborhood board meetings this evening, and we just came from the office. So I want to mahalo Hailama for starting things off and introduce myself again. I'm Kalea Kaka. Mahalo nui to the chair and vice chair and more members of the neighborhood board, the Kaneohe neighborhood board, for welcoming the Office of Hawaiian Affairs here so that We too, like you, can stay on the pulse of the needs and concerns of our community. Mahalo to the Kaneohe community for welcoming us here this evening. And we think it's so important to have this opportunity to stay on the pulse of what the community's concerns are, the mana'o, and how we can best kako'o and collaborate with one another. And I also wanted to share, joining us this evening from the Office of Foreign Affairs is one of my team members, Mark Watanabe, over there. But also to speak on some of the background of the Office of Foreign Affairs. I serve as the Oha Oahu trustee, so I'm honored to be here and join you all this evening. We've looked at how we can be more immersed in the community. And like Hailama was sharing, is that part of the reach is to visit the various neighborhoods, the communities that especially have a high concentration of our Hawaiian people. So with the Office of Foreign Affairs, we were created in 1978, and the mission, and it remains the same, which is to better the conditions of our Native Hawaiian people. And this is in alignment with our strategic plan with the various directions and the pillars of economic resiliency, education, housing, and health. And we are a board that consists of 9 members, and we have our administration as well. We have 3 committees, and it meets about every first and third Wednesday of the month, depending on what's going on. And the committees that we have are the Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment Committee. And that committee specifically speaks of what we do is focus on advocacy, community concerns. And a lot of what we do is, whether it's in the community or at the county, state, and federal level, that's where we also track bills and what's happening. And so that we might be able to provide the perspective and some mana'o that affects our Native Hawaiian community, and not just our people, but our aina, as well as our surrounding waters and so forth. Then we have our Budget and Finance Committee. That committee is pretty self-explanatory. And then we have our Investments and Land Management. So what we do in that committee is regarding our Native Hawaiian Trust Fund and the investments that we have, that portfolio, as well as our land portfolio. So that consists of legacy lands, as well as lands that bring in some economy for us to help our Native Hawaiian people. So much of what we do regarding advocacy is also regarding ea. And why we exist and how we exist as well is, as we know the history of Hawaii, we are part of the state. We are a state agency. And the lands that are and always will be our Native Hawaiian Crown and government lands is now referred to as the ceded lands of the Public Land Trust, which falls under the state. But it is constitutionally mandated. It is constitutionally mandated for the Office of Foreign Affairs to have the proceeds and revenues of 20% come to the Office of Foreign Affairs so that we may fulfill our mission and our strategic plan to better the conditions of our Native Hawaiian people. And we found in our due diligence with audits and reviewing the reports that the various entities on these state lands are, if they're on an honor system and they are putting into what they believe they should. However, what that translates to is that the state isn't receiving a more fair market or of the amounts that they should be. And therefore, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, our Hawaiian people, are not as well. But just to give you more of a perspective on that, on the stark contrast of where we should actually be, or close to where we should be, is the constitutionally mandated 20% that we're supposed to receive. We found that we've been receiving close to 3 to 4, maybe 5% of that. So if you look back in time, in some semi-recent years of the Lingo administration and furlough Fridays, all those things that we can recall, we were put at a cap of 15.1 million to come to the Office of Foreign Affairs, which is very far from a number that is 20% of all these Hawaiian lands, these Native Hawaiian Crown and government lands. So if you think of some of the entities that are consisting of these lands, the DOT, DLNR, UH, and so forth. So we worked really hard and we were able to get that cap to 21.5. But with that audit and those reports that we found, we should be getting, at the very least, whether you want to include inflation or not, 79 million. So if you look at 15.1 versus 79 million, or 21.5 versus 79 million, and that is at the very baseline. Can you imagine if we got that funding and how much more we can do for our communities, our Native Hawaiian communities, which in turn, when you're helping our Native Hawaiian communities, you're really helping the community as a whole. So that is some of what we do in terms of advocacy. And I think, Hailama, if you want to share any more specifically and
Thank you, Trustee. I think a couple of, like I said, well, I wanted to address you high level, and I promised to come back and be able to get into some real deeper manao. And first of all, I want to encourage you all to take some time to look at our website, oha.org, oha.org. It'll give a great explanation of the work that OHA is doing now, because we are probably more engaged in our community than we have been, even in the most recent decades. Our trustees have really led a charge to our CEO, who's Stacy Ferreira, and this charge is very aggressive. And one thing that I learned, I retired from Kamehameha schools last year. I moved over to OHA in March, and I was 31 years and 7 months with Kamehameha. I served Princess Pauahi that long. I graduated from Kamehameha. But all of this in my connection to Native Hawaiian communities, I never knew that OHA is constitutionally mandated to do the work it's done. And that Office of Hawaiian Affairs is the 4th branch of government in our state. No other state has 4 branches. We are not subservient to the governor. So that's what I learned. I also learned that we are charged in our Hawaii revised statutes and our state constitution to do the work we are doing, to ensure that every level of government is adhering to the state constitution when it comes to its service to the Native Hawaiian communities. So I wanted to share with you, though, that specifically in areas of budget people are looking at. Right now, our OHA trustees are working through a budget review. For the first time, I think, in at least recent history, if not first time ever, every section of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs is being scrutinized with a very strategic budget review. Mine was yesterday. And what was that today? Yesterday. See, there's so much to do. And I know that you have a lot of work today. We will promise to come back. We want to be here. And in the future, we can actually do a little presentation and offer time if there are questions or if you have questions today, we're happy to take them. But I know that you have much on your agenda. But we want to commit to, and I'll leave some information for you also, Chair. And
Mahalo, some of the pamphlets and handouts that we provided today, I just wanted to share with you all online. Mahalo for welcoming us as well. We have our Kawai Ola publication here, and this is the publication that is free to those that receive it. And I will say this is an award-winning publication, and this current issue is regarding climate change. The other piece of information we have is the 2024 Office of Hawaiian Affairs Annual Report. So this is our most recent one here. As well as a pamphlet describing what OHA does. So it speaks on some of the history, some of what I shared with you earlier, and some of our kuleana as well. As well as the OHA quarterly updates for the neighborhood board meetings. I do see at least one familiar face from last night's meeting that we were at, the Kahala'u neighborhood board meeting. So the last piece that we have is this, like many other government agencies and places, we are hiring. We are hiring, so if you know anyone, if you are that somebody, or you have anyone in your ohana or in your community, your friends that would be qualified to fill any one of our positions, there's also one other thing to note. There is a $5,000 signing bonus as well.
Hawaiian and non-Hawaiian. If you want
Yes.
to serve our people, we will.
Yes, yes. So I wanted to also touch on one more thing.
You're coming very close to the end of your time, so
Mahalo.
please speed it up. Thank you.
Okay, well, how about this then? How about we leave that time open for questions? If anyone has questions.
Now, you've gone 15 minutes.
Okay,
So I gave a 15-minute time slot. We have two other briefs to go. So
sure.
I'll take, does anyone have any questions for OHA? I'd be very interested, instead of just leaving that information, if you would just take the information that you have and email it to me digitally so I can post it on our blog and share it with the rest of the board members in the community, rather than it looks like you just have one or two there.
No, we have a.
Oh, then
that-
feel free
yes.
to place those on the table, and also digital copies sent to me.
We'll get your contact information then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It looks like Renee is here. Hi. You want to talk a little bit about Complete Streets?
I do. Sorry, Chair Radke, I cannot connect through my computer, so I'm going to give you guys a verbal update this evening, and then I will send you the slides in the morning as a PDF, so you guys can all have that. But thank you for having me, Chair, members of the board, and the community. All right, Complete Streets. I think most of you have heard this before. But Complete Streets is basically a roadway design approach that says that everyone out using our streets is important to consider, not just people driving in vehicles. And that looks different in different places, obviously. We do have a Complete Streets law in Honolulu. It's in Chapter 14. And it's basically states that every time we have a transportation project, we have to include Complete Streets features. Which is easier said than done sometimes to try to figure out what's appropriate. But the main goals of that law are to improve safety and to basically work with the communities to make our roads places for both vehicular and non-vehicular travel. We are particularly committed to the mission of traffic safety. We consider this a really important public safety issue. Unfortunately, we lose about one person every week on Oahu in a traffic crash. We're much too small of a community to have this kind of mortality. There are neighbors, our aunties, our cousins, and we are committed to ending this issue. Pedestrians and our kapuna are particularly impacted. Fortunately, we have lots of tools to address the issues. The two main things we try to do is create dedicated, protected facilities for people who are walking or biking. Obviously, they're going to lose if they're trying to share that space with cars. And then controlling opportunities for speeding, trying to keep the speeds down. So in case crashes happen, they don't have fatal outcomes. And we've been at this work for a while, and we're starting to see some really rewarding safety improvements from some of the improvements we've made, different bike facilities in town, for example. So Kāne Complete Streets, you guys know we've been at this for many years now. We looked at lots of different corridors in the community, and we talked to lots of different people, including yourselves, over the years to get feedback on sort of where the problems are and what needs to be improved. The summary that we heard was poor missing sidewalks, need to improve bus stop areas, unsafe crosswalks, no safe place to bicycle, maintain vehicular capacity, do not reduce travel lanes, and address speeding. So the projects that we have going right now, the main one you're going to see is rehabilitation of Kamehameha Highway from Like to Haiku Road. This is rehab of streets phase 73A. Project construction has been contracted. So we have a contractor already on board. He is working, sorry, they are working on submittals and permits, their street usage permits, kind of usually the first half of a construction contract is like getting ready. And then the second half is actually doing the work. So they're doing the getting ready part and trying to set a more detailed construction schedule. We estimate starting later in 2025. So that's the full paving of Kamehameha as well as the complete streets upgrades. The upgrades include repairing sidewalks in poor condition, primarily through the kind of commercial section. A lot of those are asphalt and in very, very poor shape. We have some bicycle lane improvements from Haiku Road to Ko'ele Street where we could fit them without adjusting travel lanes. And then from Ko'ele Street to Like Like Highway, we have some pretty significant shared use path improvements on both sides of the highway. We have uncontrolled crosswalk upgrades at Kapolai Road. And we're going to have to phase in improvements at Pahia. We're going to try getting in a quick build refuge island with this project, knowing that the full blinking light overhead structure is still kind of going through the slow federal project process. And then we're also going to extend the left turn pocket at Pua'inia. The other project that is going to follow, because we put Kamehameha Highway first, is going to be Rehab of Streets Phase 27. That is currently in design. We're probably not going to bid that out for another couple of years. And that includes the improvements on Haiku Road, Kea'ahala Road, Anoi Road, and some smaller residential streets paving as well, where we don't really have any complete streets changes. And there's a map in the presentation that you guys can see. We have sidewalk upgrades planned on Kea'ahala and Anoi within the project limits. I think that's, we added Kea'ahala to the sidewalks there to the project based on overwhelming community feedback that we heard. In that package, we also originally had some curb extensions at the Haiku Road, Heia Street intersection fronting Heia Elementary School. We got feedback from the community. They preferred a raised crosswalk, like a speed hump thing. So we have that included in the package as well. And then the lanes on Haiku Road will be reconfigured from 4 lanes with parking during certain times to full-time parking, 2 travel lanes and bicycle lanes. There's a lot of asphalt out there and probably too many, well, definitely too many lanes for the volume of traffic. So that's the full report I have. I know there were questions about the bike lane proposal on Kahuhipa Street. We recently repaved Kahuhipa, so that will not be touched anytime soon, but happy to address that if that's of concern to the board as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Renee. Any questions for Complete Streets? I see Mr. Sakamoto. Okay, Donald, off you go.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Renee, for coming. Donald Sakamoto, a blind individual, longtime Kāne resident. My concern is when you send the documents to the chair, if it can be an alternate format for me to read in a text format for the slideshow or presentation. And there is a concern by Kāne Bay, by Starbucks and Walgreens. I was with the instructor for the blind with another person that's blind. And we walked through that stretch and there's a driveway going into that mall over there by that place and they just merge right in. So it's very difficult for somebody who's blind or physically disabled to be walking safely there. So if you can take a look at that in the street, and I can give you more information later if you wish. Thank you.
Yeah, can you give me an address maybe and describe the issue? Is it the driveway?
Yeah, it's a driveway that blends in from the Kamehameha Highway when you're going towards King's School on the main drag right across of the Opake restaurant. And it merges in between Starbucks and CVS over there. So it's very
Okay,
dangerous.
we might be fixing it, but send it to me. I can double check.
Yeah, I'll give you more information on that. Too. Thank
Yeah, the sidewalk does crazy things over there, and I think we're restoring some good order.
And thank you for putting those talk-in crosswalks for my friend. She really enjoys using the crosswalks now that has a tick-tick noise. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad the signal could accommodate it easily.
Thank you. Just a point of reference on Pahia. And I think you're aware, but if you're not, we've been trying to get some sort of traffic situation there for 9 years.
Yeah, let me, I'm aware. So the concern, so the issue is that it's a federal aid project under our signals group. I honestly
I'm-
sometimes am surprised that any federal aid project makes it out the end. It's a very challenging process. So that is, we expected that to come first and then the paving project, but the paving project moved faster than the signal project. So what I'm trying to do is remove the left turn lane at Pahia and make a refuge island there. So that people can cross like 2 lanes at a time and then have like an area where they can then look at the other direction of traffic and cross that way. It makes a world of difference, but it might just be posts and, you know, sticks and striping and stuff right after the paving project. Because that
Is
big
it
signals
still,
project
is it still a
moving.
federal, what do you, I don't remember the term that you used.
The federally funded blinky light project is still a real project. And so we're expecting that to happen at some point. So now the paving project's coming first. I'm asking for a small change order so we can do at least a refuge island in there. And there's a picture of one in the presentation I'm going to send. We've been doing we did some on North King Street, California Avenue, where it's same issue where it's a very challenging crosswalk because it's like 5 lanes. You could take out the middle and make it 2 lanes and then 2 lanes. It's a much simpler crossing, and I'm sure a light on top of that would be even better, but I'm trying to figure out a way to get you something soon is what I'm saying.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
And you answered the question on Kahuhipa. Still, anybody who exits City Mill knows that that's quite a challenge to try and get out onto Kahuhipa from there because of the way the cars are parking. And I know there's a parking a problem along Kahuhipa and the amount of folks that live there. Any plans for that?
Our traffic engineering group was going to go out and do a sight distance check, but I think they've done it before and didn't really see a compelling need to adjust.
Yeah, have them go
So-
into the parking lot at City Mill and then come out and see if they still need a need.
I mean,
I don't know what they do
you-
for a study, but I go there all the time, and every time I come out, it's always taking my front end of my car
is the
into, I was going to
solution
say
just-
take a risk, but it is a risk.
Do you think the solution is just removing the first parking space on the side?
Probably 3. The one closest to the entrance, the one closest to the exit, and the one in the middle.
Okay.
You still have to creep out, but at least you'd have some visual.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Renee, for coming.
Of course, anytime.
We'll see you again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Why is everybody here today? This is a big crowd. Were you guys all here for the neighborhood board voting elections?
Could be.
No? Okay, let's go to Hinamauka briefing.
Aloha. I'm very glad to be here tonight to represent Hinamauka, and I've now been here for 29 years. I'm Alan Johnson, the president and CEO, and my offices are just a couple blocks down there. That's where I've been for 29 years. And I will be retiring before I reach 30 years. So in just a very few months, I'll be retiring. So I would like to introduce my successor, Ryan Baker, who has many years of experience in behavioral health and leadership, and he would be glad to give the presentation tonight. So I appreciate it, and thank you all for, I've been very grateful to be part of this community for so many years. Thank you.
Chair Radke and committee members, aloha, and thank you for the opportunity to share an update on our plans for the transitional home on Cobb Adams Road. We are aware of the statements that were made about Hinamauka at the March meeting and the request for us to return. So I'd like to provide some background about our plans, as it's been quite a while since we had originally presented to the committee back in September. For over 55 years, Winnemucca has been serving the communities across Hawaii by providing behavioral health and substance use treatment. We have helped tens of thousands of individuals and families overcome addiction, find healing, and re-enter society with the tools they need to be successful. We've been rooted in Kaneohe since 1969, and this community means a lot to us. Last year, we purchased the property on Cobb Adams Road for the purpose of a Kaneohe-based therapeutic living home, a residence for women who are in recovery and ready to rebuild their lives. These are not high-risk individuals. These are women who have successfully gone through treatment or a work furlough program and are taking the final steps toward full independence. Winnemucca will operate this as a residential home, not as a group home. Understanding the time required to obtain building clearances and permits from the Department of Planning and Permitting, we entered into a short-term lease in February of this year with Makana Okeakua, or MOCA, a respected clean and sober living organization. Since late March, MOCA has provided housing for a very small group of women, no more than 5 residents and 2 managers, under a structured program that meets ADA requirements and does not require special permits to operate. We want to emphasize that this is not a drop-in center, this is not a shelter, but rather a supportive home environment with 24/7 supervision and comprehensive services. We've also made it a priority to engage with neighbors and community leaders through ongoing outreach to ensure transparency and address any concerns. Winnemucca has taken steps to ensure full compliance with all regulations and licensing requirements. Our purpose remains clear: to provide a safe, structured environment where women in recovery can regain stability and independence. At the same time, we deeply value being good neighbors and partners in the Kaneohe community, a place where we have proudly called home for over 5 decades. We now welcome any questions from the board.
Which parcel is this? I know it's Cobb Adams Road. There's parcel 79, which has unit A and C, parcel 80, which has unit B and unit D.
Parcel 80 with you.
Why was there a notice of violation?
So for a short period of time, the tenant that we have in the facility had 5 individuals plus 2 staff. And I think everybody that knows clean and sober homes knows that it's important to have support for that to remain a good neighbor. The 2 individuals, the United States Supreme Court has approved that a reasonable accommodation for clean and sober homes allows for staff. So that's what they had put into the house, was 5 residents plus 2 staff. And what they did not realize was that they needed to ask for a reasonable accommodation from DPP, but they have now done that, and they are in full compliance at this point.
Any questions from the board? I have a couple others, but I think other board members might want to ask. Donald?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Donald Sakamoto, longtime Kaneohe resident. That facility, the building, was it purchased by somebody else who owned it and you folks bought it? Was it legal in putting it up, or it was illegal at that time? Is that yours?
We purchased.
Yeah, from an owner, a previous owner. Okay. And the previous owner had all his permits to build that thing. Just one clarification. Thank you.
Are you aware of any community concerns?
Absolutely. That's why we're here tonight.
What concerns are you aware of?
Some of the surrounding neighbors have verbalized concerns about having the property there. The 4 large homes that are built on that particular property.
That's the concern?
I believe that's a concern, yes.
Oh,
I would say that that DPP reports to us that they have numerous phone calls every week about overcrowding. And we want to say for the first 6 months, the place was empty. And there were many, many complaints every week when we were empty. And then so it seems like there's a really,
are you saying complaints about your location or complaints about the location in general? Because it
No,
looks
no,
like
there
to
were
me that
complaints.
there's
There were
three
com-
other
there
three
were-
other entities that are operating
yes,
some sort of facility there,
yes, we're not those facilities.
but you're one of the three.
There's 4 facilities there. We are just in our facility. And we think, I think there's 1 person in 1 facility and 5 in another. That's a DPP question.
Hmm.
We can say that we had complaints that we were overcrowding and we were empty. For 6 months, we had complaints that said, you are overcrowding and there are too many cars and noises there. And that was not true. And so those 6 months were of a group of people who made false statements.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Are
yes,
you
we are.
sure it couldn't have been from the other entities? Or
No,
was that
DPP has recorded those and they came out to investigate us on numerous occasions. We met with the community and with Senator Keohokalole, who explained to the community members. And he explained to them, and we allowed tours in there. At that time, there were 2 staff in there for MOCA. So we stated that, and the following day, they received emails that we had 9 people in there. So knowing that these false statements, we made those claims to the mayor and to the DPP and to the city and say that we are following permits and we're doing that.
so? Are you
And we also know that some community members are very upset about those buildings being there, but we did not build them.
Yeah, that's not at all the issue. The issue is that there are, and you're right, it is a DPP question. There are 4 locations or three entities that are operating in a very close proximity, kind of the same sort of thing. Whether they're authorized or not, looks like one of them is, and looks like yours could be, or will be, or is.
Not yet.
Not yet. So in the meantime, what's happening there now again? One more time, please.
We have rented the house.
Yes.
To a clean and sober home. They have the appropriate number of people in the facility so that they don't need any type of additional licensure or certifications.
So so when does that lease expire, and when does the home that you briefed the board about, the women's facility, go into effect?
It depends on how long it takes to get through all the processes.
Because that's what the board was briefed on 18 months ago.
Correct. And we tried to do that, but because of the delay in getting all the certifications and the licensure, we went into, as I mentioned, a short-term lease with MOCA in the interim. So that short-term lease is ongoing until we are able to get through all the processes ourselves. And then we will, MOCA will exit and we will take over.
Any questions? And let me just preface the next thing I'm going to say is, if you have questions, these questions are not for them. Those questions are for me. And I'll get them to them. Off you go. And please say your name. And if you want to come up to the microphone, that's even better. And that way we'll be able to capture your name for the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Maydeen and I reside on Cobb Adams Road.
Hi.
And they're saying that they did outreach to neighbors and community leaders. Which neighbors and which community leaders? I was not ever approached. physically. I had a letter after we found out Hinamaka purchased the property. I got a letter after I called the office, but that was it. My neighbors did not.
What did
It's-
what did the letter say?
It
Did it-
just said that, they're moving in and they are operating. It's a trial. It's sort of a trial. I'm sorry, I can't.
Was there was there any phone number or email address or anything to be able to?
I think I sent it to you
Okay, excellent.
back in last year in September.
Sure,
I gave you a copy of that.
I remember it.
Okay, thank you. Because I don't remember the details. Okay, so I would like to know who they talked to that said it was okay and that they were welcome in the neighborhood.
Yeah, great question about who they talked to and whether or not they were welcome. I guess that's going to be a question for the business on how you approach the community, and then it ends up being a DPP, yes or no. So do you have are you able to respond to that?
So. we-
Thanks, Maydeen.
Thank you. So. Oh, yeah. So we actually outreach to all the neighbors within the required square footage as per DPP requirements. We met with, we sent the same types of letters to legislators, to law enforcement, to quite a few different groups. So I don't have a list of all of them
Uh-huh.
right now, but we followed all the requirements that were.
Got it.
That we were directed to follow.
For sure.
PP gave us the address.
Excellent. And did you get responses? No responses? Okay,
And they weren't letters to ask permission, they were letters to notify, just.
correct,
To be specific.
correct. Very well. Any other questions?
Chair,
Is there somebody on the?
yes,
uh,
Chair, Kim
okay,
Tomey.
Yeah, hold on just a second, Kim. Did I see a, go ahead, Kim.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. One, how many neighbors exactly are we talking about? Because I've driven down that street and it looks like the first, I don't know, maybe 50 yards, if you're driving east with the ocean on your left, is where your property is. And on the other side, there's the back of I think it's a 2 or 3 story apartment building. And it doesn't seem like there are that many directly adjacent neighbors. So that's one. I'm sorry. And then my second question is, it's not clear to me on the, oh, I'm so sorry. On the property that we're talking about, or that I'm envisioning, there are 4 buildings. Are you saying that that is 2 properties owned by 2 different people? Or is it 1 property and these buildings are managed by 4 different entities?
Is that a question for the gentleman here? Because they can only
Yes.
speak to one. So
Yes.
they are
that
one of the people that are operating a facility. There are 3 others.
Right, but are they all on, is the property owned by underneath, is the property owned by a common owner?
Again?
Hinamaka purchased our property.
Thank you.
Uh,
Both
Your
the
property-
entire lot or just that one portion? Just the one portion of the lot. So only there's units A, B, C, and D, and Hinamaka
Right.
owns D.
Oh, just one, but the property, I mean, it looks like from the street, it looks like one property, and maybe that's the confusion.
I don't think
Yeah,
that's, I don't think that's the confusion. The confusion is there's too much activity in the neighborhood for one. If I can summarize all of this from what I've learned from talking to people and reading, that there are too many those types of facilities combined into one in one, two properties. But because of the regulations, they're allowed to have one here at A, one at C, and one at D. And they comply with what the rules and regulations are. That's a lot for one small area. And DPP did not consider that. And that's probably the biggest concern here. And you gentlemen are doing what you're doing in accordance with what DPP is asking. But at the same time, the community is upset because they've got all this activity in their neighborhood in very close proximity, and nobody's considered the community.
And maybe they don't know that Hinamauka is only one of those 4 buildings.
Oh, I
They
think,
may be-
I think they do.
Okay, all right. Could you tell me then how many neighbors you have on that street?
That they were required to send letters to?
I can't tell you that. I don't recall. That was
Well,
close to a year.
approximately. Are we talking like 10? Or are we talking 50?
There were numerous in that, there were several in that apartment building, because we had to send
Okay, so
letters
those
to
are
that
co-
apartment building. And
So that
but-
apartment building is one of your neighbors then?
Yes,
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure how that worked.
so there's a large
you.
apartment building across the street a little bit from us.
Thank you.
Send
Any other questions? I see 2 hands. Was that a hand or is that just covering? Okay, you'll see what happens. Okay, the young lady in the red shirt. You have to come. You have to come. You still have to come. Go to the microphone, please. And then you'll have to say your name. And then you'll start with the long apartment building.
My name is Susan Ritchie. I've been a resident of Kaneohe on the windward side all of my life, but Kaneohe for the last 13 years. I'm here to support a neighbor, Nadine, who came up earlier. We're lifelong friends. We've had a career together. So when she's impacted, as a friend, I'm here to talk about it. The apartment building at the beginning of the street does not access, there's no ingress or egress from Cobb Adams Road. It's all right into Lilipuna. So, and those apartments are all facing the ko'olaus. So the backs of the apartments, which are just, they're not even lanais, they're just place you could hang a towel or two, is what fronts Cobb Adams Road. So whether that is an impact on Cobb Adams, that's your decision. But what is a condition that's very concerning is that the piece of property that was subdivided that we're talking about tonight was one large family compound. The family left the area. There were just elderly people living there, a couple. They sold it. A developer bought it. Somehow the property was subdivided. And I'm concerned for my friend who lives right next to the facility that Hinamauka has purchased. Just the sheer number of bedrooms would make anybody concerned. And all of those bedrooms are not going to be used. That's finally come out. We hope they stick to the guidelines and only have 5 clients and maybe 2 staff members. But there are 12 bedrooms in that house. And if you're sitting where my girlfriend sits, 10 feet away from the back of that building, and nobody has come to knock on her door to say, hey, we're thinking of purchasing. This is our business. We'd like to set things in motion so that we have a good relationship here. It's overwhelming. If you look at the stats, that an old family couple who had resided on that property for decades, 50 years maybe, the Ching family, they sold it. It was subdivided. And it went from having basically, when they sold it, 2 people on the property. And then it was subdivided and group homes started coming up. And by the way, right across the street from this property is another large group home that was converted in the last couple of years. So no hard feelings against group homes. It's just, you can see how overwhelming the numbers are. You go from 2 people living there, it's sold, it's subdivided.
I don't think 2 people, that I could just say that if another elderly couple came and bought it and started their own care home there, would you be okay with that?
If it was a considerate development, if it took into consideration the country atmosphere of that street, families knowing each other for a long time, and all of a sudden have an influx of whatever their total is.
So there could be hope.
Could be, but I was at the meeting at the facility and I stressed to this gentleman that at least you're going to have to set up some active lines of communications to keep things under control.
Have there been?
I know, but
Have there been to any other community members? Is that a requirement for you guys to do that?
It's not a requirement, but we actually have plans in place to reach out to community members. So,
Yeah,
so we're doing that even though it's not a requirement.
Yeah, I would think at this point, this would not be a bad idea to do something like that if you're going to have a successful business venture there.
Yep, we agree. And
We've
it's-
been mostly empty, but we agree and we are talking with that and local representatives.
Okay, good. Thank you.
We do intend to do that as we get permits and get able to go in there. We have plans to knock on the door, and we did meet with our neighbor and that person there to give our number and say who we are. And we had a 2-hour meeting at the facility in March to communicate with them. So Senator Keohokalole was kind enough to come and lead that meeting with us. And we had the state people there too. And so we did listen to concerns and we talked to them for several hours and said we will be more in touch as we get permits and we will come and talk with them.
Okay, very good. You have a question, comment? Okay, so for everybody else, we're going to come to the very end of this discussion. So Sean and gentlemen, this will be the last interaction. We've got other business to cover. Off you go.
First, to address Kim's question, it was one property. After Ken Arima received his building permits for 4 buildings, within 30 days, he subdivided. He already got caught with a notice of violation by Department of Health for operating ARCs unlicensed. And that was in 2020. Now, we as a community gained over 200 signatures. We've emailed it to you. Esther inherited this problem from Ikaika. Let's put that out there. We have brought this up to the community board. It's been the same thing since 2014. We were bringing this up. Nobody listened. Every branch of government failed. DPP is confused. Like he said, MOCA is correct. They don't need the licensing from DOH. They don't need special permits. However, because they are a group living facility, they are required to receive a cup. Until that cup is gained, nobody is supposed to be in the house.
Time out. Is that true?
Esther?
Nope, you don't require a conditional use permit? Okay, that's enough. Let's move on. Keep going.
I can give you the statute,
That's okay.
but that's the main thing. Is we were asking them, where's your cup? MOCA does require a cup. It's written. If you want, I can give you the statute. I can even give you the definition. Now, the other house, according to DPP, parcel 79 unit C is rumors. That was the ordinance that was brought up to their attention that we wanted addressed. Rumors, you're not supposed to have more than 3 people. Now, if they claim the red apartment buildings at the top of the hill is what DPP gave them, they have to stay within a square footage and make sure all those neighbors, Medine should have got one. I should have got one. The Kokis should have got one. The Afonso should have got one. Everyone on that street did not get one. But the apartment building, and I think I know why. It's, for me, I mean, just putting it out there. I can't really say anything, but yeah, it's making itself more.
Well,
clear.
just, there's a certain amount of footage that
Yeah.
you're supposed to provide letters.
Now,
So is that, did they fall under that footage?
did we fall into what?
It's like, what is it? People within 500 feet, 1,000 feet,
300 feet.
300 feet.
DPP gives us all the addresses,
That's not what I'm asking you.
300 feet, and we complied with what the.
Again, not what I'm asking you. 300 feet is a requirement. They gave you some list. Is it just incumbent on you to follow what DPP gives you, or is it incumbent upon you to look at 300 feet and see what's in that?
We did both, and.
Oh, good. Beautiful. Good answer. So then that means the folks that were right adjacent to that should have gotten letters.
We have records of that in our postal that we sent out letters to everybody in that.
Awesome. Thank you. Continue.
I can say I got mine after the September meeting,
Not irrelevant, please.
so it.
Just, I don't feel like I feel like a judge. I'm not trying to do it like a judge,
No.
but I'm just trying to facilitate the discussion
Yes.
between you guys,
Be-
because you guys obviously have differences.
Yes, we do. You know, we brought this up in 2014.
I
It
don't,
is- it's
I don't.
recorded. You were the chair in 2014.
Well, it's 11 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I went back and I did my research before I even spoke last month. Okay, saying just saying that one. Now, before they even closed, while they were still in escrow, we threw up red flags. We called them. We alerted them to all the possibilities that they
Are you
were
talking
doing.
about the,
The Hinamalka.
thank you.
I called and talked to Sherry myself. If I was the competent CEO, once they face a red flag, would pause it, would do their due diligence, research it further, make sure they're not going to come into this kerfuffle right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't happen. They went full steam ahead. They came to the neighborhood board in September, gave their story. They were supposed to operate in October. Draw whatever conclusion you want with that one. But that's the whole thing. So we've been trying to, it's not Inamalka, it's not their program. It's not Mocha, it's not their program. It's the fact that we have been diligently bringing this up before the foundation was even laid. Nobody did anything.
So
And
is
now
there,
we got to deal with it.
well, what are you dealing with and what is the solution?
That's what we're trying to find out. What's the solution?
Well, what would you like to see?
I went to the neighbors. I went to the community. They want it torn down. They do. They want it torn down. The permits were gained falsely. He took it out as a single family. It's a 6-bedroom, 6-bath, ADA compliant bathrooms, 3 of them. The 4th house is a 2-story, 12-bedroom, 12-bath. That's 30 plus bathroom fixtures that are being added. How did that pass the Board of Water? Adding 30 plumbing fixtures.
What year was this?
2013?
Oh, well, I don't think that, yeah, I'm not surprised that that passed.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised at all. People have been building monster homes for,
exactly. And one of the definitions address monster homes in the ordinance that we have
now,
today.
now,
Yes,
but not then,
right now.
but not then.
Oh, it was there.
Monster homes was not there then.
It was there because Ikaika Anderson and Ann Kobayashi was doing legislation to address it, to shore it up, to make it a lot more stronger for the community.
Yeah, was it a law at that time? Or was it
Yeah, I
just
think the
legislation being
ordinance
drafted?
was, but it did change.
Okay, so
From
now,
2013
now I have a
to now.
question about your cup. Can you tell me what the cup requirement is, please?
Any group living facility is required to get a cup.
Based on,
Any.
based on?
That's just the
What
the
was, you
ordinance.
said you were going to tell me what the ordinance was.
Oh yeah, I have it if you want it.
Yeah,
can give it to you.
I just, you know, just give it to me after, and
Okay.
Esther probably knows this. If it's more, is it a DPP process, or if it's less?
It was changed but that one didn't go into effect yet. So we're still under 21-3. But the DOH is requiring them to get a cut. Right, Jared? That's what the TLP stood for. That was from Justin Lamb himself. I still have the paperwork for it.
So, thanks for all the input. Obviously, you've come to the board. It's being recorded. You've said what you've had to say. You've said. I think having this out in the open once again is helpful for everybody. It's also helpful for the owners to feel what the owners and the residents feel, and you guys can take that and do something with it. Thank you, everybody. No.
Okay, I just want to say I appreciate, we're here to serve and help.
If that was the comment, then go ahead. Okay, thanks for enduring that, everyone. And again, how come there's so many folks here? Was it for that issue? Or is there something else?
Chair, sorry, Elizabeth from Senator Wah's office, on behalf of your question of why everyone's here. Not to speak on behalf of the Kaneohe Canoe Club, but they're here, the Kaneohe Canoe Club, but they're also wondering if they're going to speak on Section 5 of Community Concerns or Section 7 of Community Organizations.
No, if it was community organizations, they would have been on the agenda. And so if it's community concerns, probably the very next section. Thank you. Which is coming up right now. Since you're all here, the first thing is a call for comments regarding off-leash dog parks. I put in a link in the agenda for anybody who was able to get the agenda online. There's a discussion about off-leash dog parks, and some of the discussion is there's lots of open spaces that are used for a lot of different things. And if you think that a dog park or an off-leash dog park would be okay for a certain area, they're inviting, the city and county of Honolulu is inviting input. So if you have that kind of input, please kokua. And now that I've just said this, you have no way to do it. So if you're not aware, we have a blog, the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board blog, and we put things on there. So we'll put that on there so you can snatch it and then make a comment. Next is Holowai Place discussion. Just a little history for those folks. And I don't know if you're planning on doing it. Bayview Golf Course, there's a couple of holes that used to be on the other side of the, you had to go over a bridge to get to it to play those holes. The bridge is rusted out, and some residents are concerned that are living on the other side that something might be happening over there, which will be driving through their neighborhood since that bridge is gone. Off you go.
Okay, Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you very much for allowing me to, and the residents of Holowai Place, for allowing me the opportunity to be here. And I was planning to go over that, but yeah, as far as the concern about that Holowai Place, the property is currently owned by Bayview Golf Course, or more formally as Dragon Pacific, which operates the golf course. That hole number 5 used to be connected to the main golf course via a bridge. And due to the deterioration of the bridge, the owner decided to remove that bridge for the safety of his patrons. So it became cost prohibitive for him to replace that bridge. Meanwhile, as he developed and improved the golf course, that has been placed on the back burner until in the future then, becomes feasible for him to put the bridge back on, then he can do that. But the owner of the golf course has been very, like to be a good neighbor to the Kaneohe residents. He's done such things such as building a dog park, but which is adjacent or between the golf course and the city west refuge facility. There's a dog park there, which he built. And he also donated the historical fish pond to a nonprofit organization to become a caretaker of that fish pond because that was too much for him to manage the operation of fish pond and all that kind of things. In addition to that, he's hosting every Tuesday night, so, if it's a function at this golf course, which he's not making money off of. So the thing is that he's trying to develop a relationship with the community, and there's no plans for him to use that section of the park with home number 5 to develop a residential homes. So it's currently a vacant land, and he'll keep it that way.
Well, it's conservation land, isn't it?
It's P2, correct. So currently.
Preservation.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's nothing he can build on there other than a golf course
Correct.
or cemetery.
Or a cemetery. You're absolutely correct.
Okay. So are you saying for the folks that live on Holloway Place that it's,
I've been talking to them, and they're satisfied with the response I've given them. So,
okay, excellent. Thank you. Well, now that it's public knowledge, thank you, Roy, for coming and sharing that information.
thank you.
You're welcome. Next up, any other community concerns? You guys are so polite. Are you the spokesperson for the whole group? All right.
Aloha, good evening, everybody. Carla Silva Park, longtime Kaneohe Kahalu resident. I'm here with some of our canoe club members that we wanted to bring some awareness to the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. We were at the Kahalu'u Neighborhood Board last night as well, where we had the opportunity to speak with Don Chang from DLNR. On May 3rd, some community volunteers repaired a damaged fence line along the canoe hale. Fence line has been there since the oldest photo I found was 1999. It was there, they repaired it, didn't extend it any further than the original one. And on May 5th, we received an email saying it was illegal, it needs to come out within 5 days. I'm new to the board of the foundation as well as to the canoe club itself. And so we've been trying to get things together and figure out how we're rebuilding, essentially. So we were unaware that this was unpermitted. So they asked us to take it out. We took it out. We've been trying to work with DLNR on these issues, and we received another email citing other complaints that we found to be not factual, which we addressed with them. And then they told us we needed to shut off our water line down there. The water line that is attached to the hale has been there for, I think Auntie Rocky said it was there when she was paddling for the canoe club. So it's been there for a very, very long time. So we complied. We've been in compliance, took down the fence, shut off the water. Our concern here is the safety issue that we now have on Kamehameha Highway. You can see just some of our keiki here. Some of us are adult paddlers there. We're very, very concerned about the safety issue now with the cars that speed up and down Cam Highway, that rip in and out of the pier constantly. I mean, today I was down there for about 20 minutes and I saw 4 burn out. And I'm terrified of the safety issues that are now presented because we didn't have a permit for an old installation. We want to make it right. We're attempting to work with DLNR. Don Chang said she would work with us on this. We're bringing awareness so we can all pull together to make sure that this gets done quickly because it is completely exposed right now. The water is shut off. It's not just impacting our canoe club, it's impacting anybody who accesses the ocean right there because they all wash their boats there. They rinse off after they get out of the water. So now our kids, us adults, will pay a little more attention. We're going to watch over them as well. But now our kids, in order to rinse off after they get out of our water, which is not always the cleanest, we know this, have to cross the driveway to get behind the restrooms to rinse off. I'm very concerned about this. We've asked when we're going to be able to, if there's temporary measures, if there's something we can do to get this fixed immediately. We had community volunteers thinking that we were helping. And now we're even more exposed. And it's not just the Canoe Club. This has transferred over into a lot of people fearing, because next week our revocable permit by DLNR is coming up. And they have said in email exchanges with us that if we don't comply, we don't want to have to deny your permit. The Canoe Club has been there for over 50 years.
So can I ask you what's required for the water?
They are saying that it was
And is this DLNR that's saying this?
DLNR and Dobor, yes. So
Okay.
they're saying that it was illegally tapped into their line. So we're looking through records to make sure that's the case. And that we have to sub-meter it, and the Canoe Club would have to pay for the water that's used. My concern there is, how do we ensure that we're not paying for the entire Kaneohe community and beyond? We have the boat wash-off area, which we've been told, well, they pay for it. I'm not sure how that works, because it's not just moored boats that go in and wash off. So we're trying to get answers to all of that, because it's not very clear to us.
Was it tapped? Was it tapped off?
We
to
don't
be-
know. It's been there for so long. We don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I have
And-
no idea. I mean, it must have been, because there's 2 shower heads.
It seems like there's lots of attention being placed on the Canoe Club and the facilities. How come?
I don't know. That's what we're trying
Does
to.
anybody know? Huh?
So one of the concerns that was brought up last night was that it took about 4 hours for DLNR to receive one anonymous complaint before we received notification that everything needed to be torn out within 5 days. That's concerning to me. I have a lot of other concerns, including with us accessing a permit to be able to have our kids exercise 1 hour, 1 day a week in Ulumau Village. I've submitted the permits on April 3rd, and I was told, because I'm not an official with the Canoe Club, which I am because I'm the registrar, so I am the HCRA contact for the Canoe Club, that I couldn't submit the permit on behalf of the Canoe Club. So if we could get support in helping us work with DLNR to figure this out, so we can have a safe place for all of our paddlers and a safe washing place for the rest of the community that uses the access point, we would really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you very much for your concern. This is this is outside Kaneohe Neighborhood Board, but I don't care. Let's, as a board, kind of talk about this and see what we can do. I think anytime our keiki are paddling, they're doing something good. So whatever we can do to make that right, I think that's something we should all get behind.
Chair, if I may, last week, Thursday night, the Kaneohe Canoe Club did make a presentation at the town hall in front of the mayor and did ask for their assistance as well. So I hope you do have some feedback from the mayor's office on actions. But again, I was there. I appreciated the comments that you folks made and do understand. Thank you.
Awesome.
Chair Sakamoto. I attended the Kahaloon Neighbor Board meeting last night. I heard the concerns. There was also something raised about a guardrail for safety, as well as Mike McCarthy's name was mentioned about putting in the water for you folks. But I really hear you folks, and I hope everything goes well with DLNR and you folks to resolve this issue.
Thank you. Just, is there no guardrail?
And
Is this just right? You can go right from the club right out to the road. Okay, that's DOT, isn't it? Sorry, what?
State to handle.
Oh, that's city chair. This is Renee.
Oh, hi,
That's,
Renee.
That's a city roadway by the harbor.
Can you slap a road, a rail, guardrail in there?
There's pretty specific federal guidance on where to use guardrails, but we can look at it and see if there's a traffic safety, approach, to part of the problem.
Good, thank you. Good.
Hi, hi there. This is Anna Abbey.
Hi there. Off you go.
Hi there. I can't even see myself, but that's okay. So I'm representing the Kāne Canoe Club as well and Kāne Cultural Foundation. I did some research on attempting to do a fast track fence permit online, and it asked for a TMK. So when I plugged in the TMK for that particular spot of where the canoe club is located, it came up, invalid. But in addition to that, it showed the state as the owners, and below that was the Kāne Canoe Club and Kāne Cultural Foundation. Then when I clicked on the roadside, it shows the city and county with an actual address. So when I plugged in the address, it was it was invalid. So, it's the city or it's the state. And, this is where we're going to get hung up. And, we need guidance on how we can expedite, a permit for this guardrail or a fence as soon as possible.
Can you write up the permit and print it out?
I could, but
if you did that and left the TMK blank and then went down and explained what the situation was. Sometimes we just do stuff online and expect the miracles to happen, and it doesn't. And it's a GIS issue because what the GIS mapping is pointing to is a road that doesn't exist. So sometimes just printing that out and bring it out to the other human can help people understand what's what. Just a suggestion. It's not a solution, just a suggestion.
Okay. Now also
Thank
for
you.
the water issue, because is it a board of water supply issue, or is it the state that actually, controls the water? I'm assuming all the water comes from the board of water supply. So I'm just baffled that, they're saying that, the state is asserting this type of demand on stating that it was tapped into. And, I think that those allegations need to be supported, with some kind of paperwork or, without, just turning off the water and saying, well, go get it turned back on. Good luck. That's what it sounds like.
Thank you.
And also with I'm sorry, I'm just going to say something else, is that they want to charge the canoe club for the water, and everyone uses the same water lines that we, for the public as well. The public and the commercial activities there use the same water showers there at the canoe club. So I can't understand why they would charge the canoe club specifically for the water.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If I may, Chair, my hand's up. Marie. Aloha, Marie Samudio.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. Want to thank you. Can I talk? Okay.
Yes, please.
Please, I want to thank you for providing this venue, particularly on these types of issues, because at the mayor's town hall the other night, this type of situation was brought up over and over about the, I don't know what type of term to use, inefficiency and ineffectiveness or whatever, out of date agencies that we have. And I'm very thankful to see our officials here. We have state and county, which is part of the problem. that Anna brought up. Who does this belong to? City, county. We've been going over this for decades. And we will probably do it long before or after we are gone. So thank you for trying to address this. And I hope that the officials are listening and try to address the agencies, particularly the ones that were mentioned, DLNR and DPP and DOBAR, and get their acts together. It's not, I know we have outdated equipment. I know we got outdated whatevers, but I've only been doing this for like 15 years and I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired and
Okay.
somebody got to do something. And the mayor says he wants to. So mayor's rep, let's hear it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or community concerns? Yes. Is this a new one or are we still on the same one? New one. Off you go.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Jocelyn O'Jerry. I'm a longtime forever Kāne resident. And I don't want to dig up a dead issue, but the Keapuka turnaround on Apapani and the Luca Road is now creating another issue because of the lack of U-turn that you can make from Cam Highway fronting Kaiser Clinic. So people are now coming into the Keapuka subdivision to make U-turns to get back around. In the last month, traffic has been horrendous, getting in and out of Keapuka at multiple times during the day. We have excessive people coming in because of Ho'omalihi Park. I'm just trying to get out of Apapani Street, and now I have to figure out if the person on the other side is going to keep going up Luluka Road or make a U-turn to go back up the other side. There was an accident on Cam Highway in the intersection of the right across Ko'olau Farmers, and the truck was there and traffic was stuck in Keapuka. We couldn't move going up Cam Highway. We couldn't go across Cam Highway. And there's been incidents of road rage because we don't know if the car coming down Luluku is going to stop to let me turn up Apapani. So just thoughts like, what can we do? Besides, I want to still dig up the turnaround.
It seems like it seems like a common thing. Tear it down, pull it out. Thank you very much. I think the representatives are hearing that. Representative Matayoshi would definitely have some feedback on that one as well, since he lives down there as well. Good, thank you. Any other community concerns?
Sheriff can be concerned.
Terrapins, yes.
It's probably a repeat, but it's the crosswalk at Pahia Road.
That's okay. We're digging up animals all over the place.
And I actually have a fresh video on it because I think I've seen this video before, but they're driving down Kamehameha Highway. It's dark and you can't see on the other side of the road if someone's crossing it. And in the video, you can see it's like, and I'll admit I was a driver, right? I did not see anybody until my car alarmed me and it came up on my screen. Then I looked up, the guy's right in front of me. I shared the video with the board members, but Pahia Road, Kamehameha Highway, that crosswalk, we've been talking about this for 15 years, right? And we've been told this project's been moved here and there, and the funds have come and gone, but maybe a simple light, a simple flashing light, speed bump, whatever. I think speed bumps went up really fast when they did them, but nothing's been done for Pahia Road crosswalk.
Renee, are you still here?
I'm here. I hear you.
He brings up a good point. Speed humps and speed circles and roundabouts, they go up very quickly. But 9 years for some sort of crosswalk calming at Pahia Road seems just off to me.
Yeah,
And,
it's a hardwired. So the problem is it's a hardwired signal, basically, right? And so it's you have to trench, and then you have to go through historic preservation because you might find EV. And there's so many challenges with the full build. So we're trying to find some interim solutions.
Okay. I'd love to be involved in the conversation if I would be allowed.
Okay, we're doing some data collection. We're collecting, we're gonna see how many people make that left turn, just to make sure we can remove that left turn pocket. And then we'll draw up some things and maybe send it over for your guys' review.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other community concerns?
Chair Sakamoto.
Is it about this?
Yeah, it's about that A road.
You have something to add to it that hasn't been said?
Just wanted to say that the mayor made a speech at the beginning of the year for public safety, so that should be one of the matters that should go.
Thank you. Any other community concerns? All right. Thank you all for coming. It feels good when we get elected to the neighborhood board to come here and sit and try and listen to things. And then sometimes we can do something, sometimes we cannot. But a lot of times the people that are here that can do something, it's like the mayor's representative who's here. Esther Kia Aina is here. Senator Keoho Kalole is here. And we'll have our representatives listening in, hopefully. So they're all here too. So when you get to say what you say and they get to hear what you say, it's a good thing. So mahalo. Okay, moving on to, thank you. I don't do it for the applause. Next. Elected officials. U.S. Representative Jill Takuda sends her regrets. If you have issues or concerns that you want to send forward to the representative, please send it to me and I will forward it to her Hawaii staff. Moving on to Senator Governor Green's representative.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Diana Ko from the state. My update is we've got Governor Green's monthly newsletter, Ke Alaho. The link and a link to sign up is on the neighborhood board's blog, or should be up on the blog at some point. And then to respond to board member Donald Sakamoto's question from last meeting, an update on Governor Green's commitment to renewable energy, I provided a link to Governor Green's commitment statement, and it reads, Governor Josh Green signed an executive order in late January to promote and expedite the development of renewable energy in the state of Hawaii. In the face of federal uncertainty regarding renewable energy and concerns over grid stability across the state, the governor is committed to expanding and accelerating Hawaii's renewable resource development and has outlined priorities to reduce energy costs, prevent blackouts, and slash emissions for Hawaii residents and businesses. And I thought I would throw in a tidbit that would probably be of interest to this community. DLNR's vessel registration renewal is now more streamlined for state boat owners. The Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation, or DOBAR, launched a new online renewal portal. The link is vessel.ehawaii.gov/vessel, and I also gave Chair that link. In-person renewals are still available at the vessel registration and tilting, is that right? Titling office at 4 Sand Island Access Road on Oahu, or the nearest DOBAR Neighbor Island District office. Mail-in renewals will continue to be processed in the order they're received. Transactions for new purchases and transfers still must be completed in person. That is my update. Any questions?
If you could send that to me so we can also make sure that it gets posted on the blog if it's not already there, I would appreciate it.
I sent it to you. I sent it to you yesterday.
Okay. I'll look.
Okay.
Thank you.
I got a raised
Next
hand.
is
Wait,
Mayor
I'm sorry, I
Bun-
got a raised hand. It's Marie again. Sorry.
No, it's not your turn yet. You got to take a break.
No. It's for the governor's. It's for Diane. It's a
Yeah,
question.
it's not time yet.
Oh, I can't ask him questions yet.
No.
Oh, pooh. All right, well. Good.
Alan, go. The mayor's representative goes, and then we'll do governor and mayor's rep at the same time. At least that's how it's listed on the agenda.
Aloha, good evening. Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services, board members. Not much to report tonight because a lot of stuff that we've talked about in the past was covered by other speakers. So I know we're short on time. Kamo'ali stream. Board members wanted an update last time. I've been told that DFM are mainly doing manual cleanup right now. They don't have any heavy equipment there. They have equipment at Moanalua Stream, Wailua Beach Road, and Ulihava Stream. And it's going to be about 2 more months before they can go back with the heavy equipment, the tractors, to clear more stuff out. But they're going to, as they have time, manually do cleaning, clear outs of debris and other stuff clogging up the stream. So that'll continue. Took notes on the Kaneohe Club last week at the Windward Mayor Town Hall. Mayor said that they would call DLNR, work with them, see if they can get things moving forward the right way. We will follow up to confirm that they in fact made the contact with the director of DLNR to address that. With regard to Mauka, I'll talk to our director of DPP to see if we can get together and talk to her. I talked to her after the last meeting, but she's tied up for this night, so she's not here. The budget for fiscal year 26, we're down the home stretch. We're going to have one more committee on budget meeting on May 27th, 9 a.m. And then on June 4th, we go through the 3rd reading to get the budget approved. So we're working to get that done. And hope you, if any of you are interested, you can participate, at Honolulu Hale or online. There's you can call in online and testify if you want to, or just listen in. So just want to thank everyone for being here and sharing your community concerns. And we'll continue working on various issues that come up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Not time yet. Next is Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aloha and good evening. To just give an update on the budget, because we had our last committee hearing just recently this week. So I feel a little more secure that I could announce some notable items with regard to Kaneohe. First, with regard to Kaneohe District Park, I know that we've all been waiting for improvements at the park. So there's $3.79 million that will allow the Department of Parks and Recreation to make improvements, including upgrades, tennis courts and parking lots. Of course, Kailua wastewater treatment plant, everybody knows that there's a lot of challenges there. All total would be $61 million, both for the plant as well as the solids handling system improvements. And for ambulance services, we're actually, Kaneohe actually stands to benefit from potentially 2 facilities and substations. One will be in Hakipu'u. And so that would be to $500,000 to acquire land and to construct a ambulance facility that will expand services between Kaneohe and Kohuku. And we are also going to receive $722,000 for a new substation in Maunawili.
And I'm hoping that it would be at the Hawaii Pacific University so that it could service both Kaneohe as well as Waimanalo and Kailua, and then as a backup in case they need help in Honolulu. Chair, I sent you the update for Kamehameha Highway improvements. The Department of Design and Construction provided their most recent update. And I think for most in the room, they're probably most interested in the corridor between Like to Haiku. And the Department of Design and Construction has a notice to proceed for December, scheduled for completion in the first quarter of 2027. And I think that's all I had.
Excellent. Now, questions for the Congresswoman Takuda. Everybody who just spoke up to this point, please. Go ahead, Donald, because I know you're going to raise your hand, so you can go first and get them all out of the way.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you for all the presentations. I'd like to thank the governor, for Department of Transportation, state for cleaning Kianaoli Road, guardrails, the trees, vegetation. I'm still waiting for the city to do theirs, and Andy, I sent you an email about that Kianaoli Road cleanup. Thank you for giving us an update about the Kamalo Stream cleanup. And then Esther, I testified at the April 29th Budget Committee. Councilmember DeSanto Chan, the chair, and you were there too, about Bill 60. I'm very worried that a lot of people don't know about the sewer increases, and I did talk to Councilmember DeSanto Chan's office staff, and they have the same feeling that a lot of people don't know about the sewer increases, and that worries about me as a disabled person in Kapuna, how we're going to pay for these outrageous increases. But I look to your leadership and the council to address that concern, and also with budget director and the rest of the city. Thank you.
Any other questions? Cecil, go ahead, and then we'll go with the online.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Esther, the improvements at the park, do they include the tennis courts, or do you know?
According to my notes here, it says, the sustainable and resilient improvements to the park facilities, including upgrades to tennis courts and parking lots.
Okay.
And this was always in the works. We were expecting that. So you remember when you had the big sinkhole? And that's all going to be, we knew that in the long term, they were going to improve the whole area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, online.
This is me. This is a good time.
This is
Can
the
I
only
go
time.
now?
The
Hello?
only time.
Only time. No way, Jose. Anyway, so you saved everybody some time. I wanted to address to see what state and the county, so that kind of hits everybody so far, have been able to, over the decades, discern who owns like the waterways and something like the Heiakia Pier and the streams. This has always been an issue about trying to keep everything clean and open and who's got permits for what. And it was brought up again with the paddling issue at Heiakia. And so it's to the state, it's to the county, and I guess Esther, as a council person, to you, where are we in that grand scheme of trying to discern who is responsible for taking care of what? And again, board, thank you for this opportunity.
Question, but with regard to waterways, there is no, it would either be a state or federal nexus. So I'm actually confused about your question.
It's the feds have never been brought into this over the years, Esther. It's always been either county or state or private. ownership to keep the streams open.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about,
Okay.
yes,
Those
that's,
waterways, yeah, sorry.
yes,
hon.
that's correct. So, you need to be very specific, and I'm not trying to be evasive. And, because just hypothetically for a bridge, for example, there is, a state, there's city and state Kuleana, and depending
Right.
on the route, the pathway of the stream will determine whether or not there is there's private liability on behalf of the landowner. So if you don't mind, I don't think your specific case has ever been brought to my attention. So you could email me and I can follow up to find out exactly whose jurisdiction it is. I'm assuming you want to talk about stream maintenance, correct?
Well, thank you, Esther, but yeah, it was,
Marie, it's Jared. The answer
Yes.
to your question is that the Kaneohe Canoe Club issue at the Heiakia Pier is almost exclusively the state Department of Land and Natural Resources. The Canoe Club has always, I mean, from my understanding of the issue, the Canoe Club has had a revocable permit through the State Department of Land and Natural Resources for kind of forever. And Don Chang, a Kaneohe resident, and the chair of the DLNR, committed yesterday at the Kahului Neighborhood Board meeting to look into it. I fired off an email to Megan Stat, who is the Division of Boating and Recreation Administrator, who has Kuleana over the boat harbor. And I guess is the primary supervisor in charge of facilitating or managing the permits, including that revocable permit, asking them for, basically asking them for an update on this whole situation in light of the process to review that revocable permit in the next couple of weeks. I know that Senator Awaz's staff has been working diligently on this. The fence, my understanding is that the fence falls within the revocable permit conditions. And so it's state Kuleana. And so we'll have much more detail to report on this whole situation, probably at the next meeting, but hopefully a resolution before then, since there's a whole state process that needs to be facilitated between now and then anyway. The road itself is city and county, but again, the fence situation doesn't have anything to do with the city and county and doesn't actually have anything to do with the road either.
thank you,
Thank you.
Senator, I appreciate that. And now, but I was asking in a broader sense, just using that example as
Hold
an
on just a
age-old-
second. Hold on just a second. I don't want to go off on 5 different tangents. What I was hearing you say, when you threw the Kaneohe Canoe Club in there as
the
a portion
example.
of your concern about stream and who owns streams and water and waterways, like that's what you were asking, Marie.
Whatever.
Is that what you
Yeah,
were asking?
Okay, over the decades, the state and the county have been trying to discern who owns what areas and who is responsible for maintenance of what areas. And it includes private ownership. I was asking how far on is the state and or county in discerning.
We got
the-
that, Marie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Clarify, they do know. So there is no study. You have to give a specific stream and portion of the stream and to either the county or state officials, and we would be able to clarify for you whether it's county, state, or private jurisdiction. And of course, for complex projects, we need the U.S. Army Corps on occasion for permitting purposes. So it's very complicated. So you can't just expect an answer for a generic question like that. You have to be fact specific.
Well, no, that was good, a good answer. Thank you, that I have to know specifically. So thank you.
Question, Laurel?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for all the reports and for all the help that we know you're going to give for the Canoe Club especially. The monster home definition, where can I find that? And is that city or state? Which jurisdiction?
City.
City,
City.
okay. So where would I find that
We
definition?
can get that for you. And
Okay.
can you just email me?
Okay, can do.
Thank you.
When will the Kaneohe Playground and the community gardens, that whole, yeah, what, they were trying to fix it to comply with some federal mandate for flooding and for stormwater. Yeah. When is that going to be done? And is the community gardens going to be eventually open again?
I'm gonna have to look that up for you, so.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you so much. Moving on to our elected officials, other than those. Senator Kehokalole is here, so hey, right there.
Chair, members of the board, everybody from Kaneohe, aloha. I'll go real fast. I'll just give a preview of my post-session newsletter that we normally mail out to everyone in the district. Every year I try and do sort of a roundup of the 10 bills that I thought mattered the most, and then a little blurb on what they are. So I'll go through them real fast. SB 1044, which I introduced, is the property insurance stabilization bill. The program should be up and running. We're hoping by the end of the year to provide some stabilization for townhouses and condos who are having trouble. House Bill 300 is the budget. We set aside at least $200 million just for flexibility. There is a lot of speculation about whether the state will be required to convene for a special session after the federal budget is passed in November. So it's a bit of an idle budget because we are getting ready for significant cuts of programs that the state usually will provide matching funds for, specifically in healthcare. We are hoping not transportation. Highways and highway funding, for example, is 90% funded by the federal government. So the budget is sort of anticipating federal cuts. There are 4 bills on fireworks. I won't read them. Representative Matioshi was one of them, but it's essentially a crackdown on the illegal fireworks, makes things easier for the police to investigate statutory changes, and then more money for the task force that is going after seizures at the harbors. HB 969 is the landfill bill. We were able to maintain the buffer zone that keeps Kailua out of consideration. The mayor committed at the town hall last week that Kailua is not on the list of alternatives, but the legislature did prohibit the siting of a landfill on Oahu over an aquifer. SB 1300 is the school meals bill. Basically, if you qualify for reduced lunch, it's now free, and we're stabilizing the price hikes that were anticipated for school lunch. HB 427 was the big biosecurity bill. Thank you all for your help over the past several years to make that happen. We're completely reorganizing the way we do biosecurity in state government. It's a big bill. It's going to take a while to implement, but it's real good. SB 1396 is the green fee. It's the first climate fee enacted in the nation. SB 897 is a bill for Hawaiian Electric. I voted no. Representative Matioshi voted no. I think it's a big corporate giveaway. I think it's a shameful bill. You can look it up and read about it. HB 958 is the e-bike crackdown, licensing helmets, giving the police a better tools to be able to go after all the shenanigans on e-bikes. And then SB 933 is sort of the nonprofit rescue bill. It's $50 million of state funds that are set aside to shore up the cuts that came from Doge that hit our nonprofits really hard in the spring. Thank you.
Senator Awa.
Good evening, Chair, members of the community. This might be my first time presenting in person. I'm normally online. I'm Elizabeth Tabake. I'm Senator Awa's office manager. Born and raised in Kaneohe, went to Ben Parker King Intermediate. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Castle, probably one of my biggest downfalls. My report for our post session might be even shorter than Senator Kilkalola's because he was able to talk about his 10 bills and we had 0 bills passed from Senator Awa. But we are not disheartened, and we will keep trying, and we'll, it's an uphill battle that we're fighting in our corner of the Capitol. But we will come again next session and continue to push for the greater good. Just to touch really quick, since some of the members of Kaneohe Canoe Club are still here, Clint Anderson, Senator Waugh has been working on this. Once we realized what was going on, we too had reached out to the head of Dobar, and once we realized that we were told that the fence was encroaching onto DPP or city property. Senator Waugh had reached out to Deputy Warren Mamizuka from Facility Maintenance and requested. We were also told that we weren't aware of that. Kaneohe Canoe Club has been trying to get a guardrail there since 2004. And after speaking to Warren at DPP, they said that they'd send out a inspector this week. And so we'll follow up with them next week because we truly believe, and they had mentioned next week, May 23rd, Thursday, I believe, DLNR will be having their meeting to bring the revocable permit onto the table. Senator Waugh will be there to show his full support for the club. And I think that's also what the club was here to look for, right? The support of the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. So we will follow up on that next week, and hopefully come next month, it'll just be all good news. This is a really good community. Okay. Secondly, Senator Waugh wants to let everyone know that he and a number of the minority legislators will be traveling to Washington, D.C. To meet with federal and national department officials regarding various issues impacting our communities, districts, and state, trying to restore, his words, trying to restore that burnt bridge. We look forward to sharing updates on these efforts during our June meeting. And then lastly, something that we're really proud of, and what a coincidence, as we know, and as we've heard multiple times tonight, that the Kahaluu waterways isn't the cleanest. And so during this interim, we've been meeting with several principals from Waihole, Kahaluu, Ahuimanu, and He'ia will be working with these schools on the Genki Ball project to start cleaning the Kahaluu waterways from August. It's a 6-month pilot program from August to the end of January. And then hopefully our goal is come January, we have enough data to introduce the legislation for this to be a statewide pilot program. And I think this is a very big coincidence because now that their water has been shut off, we're going to really hope to clean the water. And I think that's it for now.
Awesome. Stand by for questions.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Kitagawa.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to introduce myself for those who might not know. I'm Representative Lisa Kitagawa. I represent parts of Kaneohe all the way out through Ka'ava. I wanted to just tag on to what Senator Kehokalole was saying about the legislative update. So I want to give you updates specifically related to capital improvement projects and grant and aids that the legislature awarded this past year. So I had the honor of working on CIP this year. And so I'm really happy to announce that we were able to get funding for a bunch of our schools. So this year, Castle High School will be receiving about $2.6 million for various deferred maintenance projects, as well as improvements to the Ronald Bright Theater. So the seating and the lighting, that will be done. And that I've let the DOE know that theater is very important to our community. King Intermediate will be receiving $1.5 million for various deferred maintenance projects. Kaneohe Elementary, as well as Kahaluu Elementary, will be receiving $2.5 million each for fire alarm replacement and monitoring systems. So those were the things that we were able to get for our schools. And then we were also able to get grant and aid for various nonprofits in our community. So one is for Key Project, a little bit outside of Kaneohe, but they serve also the Kaneohe community. They were able to receive $175,000 for their youth program. And then the After School All Stars program, which provides free after school services at King Intermediate for any student who wants to go to the program and who needs to stay until 5 p.m. every day. They received $115,000 to continue their services at King Intermediate as well as across the state at various middle and intermediate schools. And then also just want to highlight that HIMB had 3 positions that were in jeopardy this year. We were able to get those permanently put into the budget. And so they will now not have to worry about those 3 positions, which we got a few years ago for them, which was for facilities, administration, and for their IT. So that's all in the budget, and that's really good news for our community. And so I can answer any questions you guys might have after, but just wanted to give that update.
Mahalo. Representative Matayoshi. You must be muted.
He is, he's muted.
Okay.
Still muted, Peyton.
Did that work? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, sorry, new computer issues. So aloha, everyone. I'm Representative Scott Matayoshi. I'm going to go through a couple of bills, but I first wanted to highlight the e-waste recycle drive that we are holding. Representative Kitagawa and I are holding. It's going to be at the end of the month, May 31st, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Castle High School in the auditorium parking lot. You can bring by all of that flat screen TV that's been sitting in the corner of your living room forever. Bring that by, get it recycled. The laptop that you don't know what to do with, bring that by. We can take pretty much any electronics, but not any microwaves or any kind of the appliances. So this is a good chance for everyone to come by and recycle the things kind of taking up space in their house. We're also going to be accepting lead acid batteries, reading glasses, and other donations. But we sent out a flyer, or there should be a flyer in your email inbox to tell you exactly what we're going to be recycling. A couple of key bills that we passed this year. I passed 2 fireworks bills. One of them is going to allow make it a lot easier to regulate aerials and to enforce and prosecute people who are firing off illegal fireworks. The other one funds sting operations against buyers and sellers of illegal fireworks that I'm really hoping is going to slowly chill the market in the illegal fireworks being distributed around the island. We also regulated cannabinoids. There have been a lot of products being sold on our store shelves right now that are very close to basically just cannabis. So we introduced the bill this year, and I introduced the bill and we passed it. Thanks to a lot of help from Senator Keokolole too, to start to regulate that through DOH. Senator Keokolole already mentioned the free and reduced school meals bill. That's been a big priority of mine, so I'm really glad we passed that. The condo insurance relief bill passed as well. We actually managed to add on the condo loan program that I had introduced in a different bill. So we're kind of doing a pilot program, but for condos that have a lot of deferred maintenance, specifically that need repiping and sprinkler systems, now they can apply to get a loan from the state if they can't get a loan from the bank. So hopefully kind of get those condos back up on their feet and get their insurance costs down as well. And I just wanted to shout out Representative Kitagawa too for all of the CIP that we get. I know it's kind of inside baseball here, but in her position as CIP chair for Finance Committee, she is hugely influential in the amount of money that we get through the budget and the kind of positions that we can protect in Kaneohe. So we did a lot this year. She did a lot this year to protect Kaneohe and really funnel a lot of funds into our schools. So big thank you to her. I lastly wanted to introduce or address the that roundabout. So I live on Apapani too, right off of Luluku. Mo's laughing because he knows that this comes up all the time. So I eat that turn every single day. I'm not sure I agree that people are making a lot of more U-turns there. I personally haven't seen it. I mean, some people will occasionally make a U-turn there, but there's another U-turn if you go in that same direction of Kamehameha Highway. You go right through the light and there's a legal U-turn to make. So I just can't think of the reason why someone would make a right turn, come all the way down our street, make a U-turn, come all the way up, and then make a left turn to try to turn around rather than just go through the light, make a U-turn and be done. I'm not saying it's not happening, but that just seems like it would take even longer to me. we had, again, I said this before in another meeting, we had to close that U-turn because it cuts across that crosswalk 2 times. And a lot of people made that U-turn and try to go all the way, through 3 lanes of traffic to the right to try to get to Windward City. And that was creating a dangerous situation, especially for pedestrians. So that's the reason why DOT had to shut down that U-turn lane. But again, for anyone listening, if you are making that weird roundabout U-turn, please just go through the light on Kamehameha Highway. There's another legal U-turn right there. Make the turn if you need it. Yeah, with that, I'll take any questions. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Representative Lee. Okay, okay, questions for our senators and representatives. Oh, Mr. Lee's right here. I didn't see you.
Yeah, our representatives and our senators went over some of the major highlights, right? School meals, fireworks enforcement, e-bikes, which we worked on, Mokolo'e, the position administrator. But yeah, I just want to throw a shout out to all the Windward legislators who really helped us come along in our office. A couple of things we worked on, in our committees were we were able to secure funding for the culture and arts. We have $300,000 put aside for it as well. Our office was really lucky in the labor department. We passed the child actor bill. We have a lot more child actors here locally, protecting their accounts and making sure that their parents can't spend all of their money. But two that I think are really important for me was one is the Mañana Sea Anemone bill. We have got $200,000 to try to eradicate the anemone that's popping up in Kaneohe Bay now. And if we aren't able to do it, we will get $200,000 next year as well. So I think that's really important for Kaneohe Bay. For those of you who don't know, I'm mostly Kailua, but I come around Kaneohe Bay right up until Mokulele, kind of by the golf course. And then one of the ones that I was really proud of because it was a constituent bill, it came from the Windward side, was the medical licensure bill we did. A lot of local families in certain situations have to fly to the mainland to see certain specialists. Even people in Polynesia will have to go to California or Washington. What we did actually was we looked at the Hawaii Medical Board. We worked with the Hawaii Medical Board. We found out that we have some really outdated laws in terms of medical licensure for international specialists. We're actually able to pass that bill. It's being signed, and we're looking at hiring a specialist in cardiology in the next few months. So that was a really important one. But that comes from you, right? That was an idea that came from the local community. Worked on it. We looked at national, ways of doing it. We looked at other parts of the country that were doing it, and that's really what we're able to come up with. But yeah, they kind of went over some of the really big highlights of the legislative session. But I would say, just to review, that Langiardi did double down, at least for now. There will be no landfill on the Windward side, or at least in Kailua Kaneohe for now. Little fire ants have popped up on Kailua hillside. We were able to deliver a little fire ant kit to every single home there within 4 or 5 days. So we're doing testing. But I encourage you all to keep calling and keep emailing our office. In the last, few months recently, we've been able to get a little bit more patrolling from HPD over by H3. I know it's very loud for a lot of the residents who live under H3 on Kaneohe Bay. Also, noises from the military base, we've been able to work on some of that, especially the ones late at night. And even simple things like mangrove growing in places that we haven't been able to work with the right agencies. So yeah, we've kind of gone over some of the major legislative highlights, but on the community level, we're doing a lot of good work, and we're only able to do that, because you communicate with us and you work with us. So, get those emails, get those calls coming. Thank you so much.
Mahalo. And I have to agree with you. Our elected officials on the windward side of Oahu, they work together really well. They get a lot of stuff done for us. So mahalo back to you all. Questions for the representatives and senators, Mr. Sakamoto?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Representatives. Nano Sakamoto. I'd like to thank Mike Lee for talking about H3. I talked to you on the phone. I would like to get a meeting with you about how we can fix and resolve the concerns that look out. But my question is, when is the representatives going to have a next town hall meeting for us to have our residents, besides the neighborhood board, which is good, but to have a dialogue with you folks to prepare for next year's legislation with what our concerns would be? Thank you.
Give that some thought.
We typically hold it in the fall, at least we have in past years. So that's kind of what we're aiming for, with enough time to get feedback before the next legislative session starts. I would think September, October is when we'll have it, but we haven't really talked yet since the legislative session just ended.
When somebody has a really good idea, like the medical idea we just heard, what can a community member do to start putting that together to bring it forward?
I mean, I would say do as much homework as you can and then contact one of our offices. We can use the power of our office to question or bring in experts or question departments directly about the issues that concern you folks. So, but it always helps to do your homework first, come to us with as much information as you can, and then we can help you to take it the rest of the way if it's possible.
Yeah, just as an example, the biosecurity bill that I just mentioned that restructures the entire state response and apparatus around invasive species happened because, as you folks remember, well, actually, it happened because John Rappoon emailed me in June of 2023, and he showed me a map of all of the sites on the windward side that they surveyed that had little fire ant, and it was like 20 something, and there were 16 sites in Kaneohe. And so then we had the town hall in Kaneohe, we had one in Kahaluu and Waimanalo, and fast forward to now, we introduced legislation to just redo the whole administration because it was so ineffective. And again, it happened because, yeah.
What would you say would be the time of year that a community member should be bringing something forward, and when is it too late?
Well, the time is now. The time is always now. And the reason is we 2 years on, we've now passed this bill to restructure the administration, but the administration still isn't working today. The governor still has to sign the bill. They still have to spend the money, redo the infrastructure. So it just keeps going and going and going. The passage of the bill really is just one step in the journey. And a lot of times if people pass the bill, some of the sad parts is you do all this work to pass the bill, and then people sort of turn their head and their attention to other things, and then it doesn't get implemented. So it's sort of nonstop. We don't ever, Matayoshi, I mean, you can call him tonight. Like, you guys should call him right after this meeting and give him all your bill ideas. That guy, he always works. He's always listening. So we're always here, and there's never a better time to start than right now.
Thank you very much for that. I'd
But
also
as far
say
as-
that.
As far as
Matayoshi-
deadlines go, I'd say December is pretty much down to the wire, and then January, you're probably too late for the session that starts mid-January, because we do need a little bit of time to draft them and do the due diligence on it. But yeah, right now.
Thank you. Any other questions for the representatives and senators?
Me, please. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
It was for Senator Awa's rep. I just wanted a clarification, saying that the senator's going to a meeting soon and will address next month issues that he's bringing up. Do we have any heads up on what issues regarding that rebuilding bridges, or just gotta wait?
There's a number of issues, and we're still taking emails and letters, concerns, texts, phone calls, because it's going to be a week long, the entire first to second week of June, with about 13 department heads. So there's a number of issues, yes.
You're taking feed in from the community?
Absolutely.
That's what's fueling the issues?
Yes,
Okay, Mahalo.
almost all these issues are from the community, whether it was an
Mahalo.
email or a phone call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. And then for Representative Lee, I heard him say that there was no landfill issues in Kailua, and then there was for now, which kind of like, oh, really?
Yeah, certainly. So, one of the major issues that's happening in Kailua is that since the 1960s, we've actually had 6 landfills, one for a very long duration. So, right now, the bill that was passed that Senator Kehokolole was referencing ensures that we don't have landfills of open aquifer. And right now, it also enforces the buffer zone and continues the buffer zone of a half mile away from residential areas, hospitals, and schools. And so right now, there are 5 sites that the city and county is looking at that is on the Windward, or 6 sites on the Windward side, 1 in Waimanalo and 5 that are in Kailua, very close to the Kapa'a transfer station.
Rep Lee, I think the concern is for now.
Yes.
So instead of the history, what's the possible
So
future?
right now, city and county is kind of got their hands tied, and they still are probably going to be looking at those sites later if they can't find another suitable site. And right now, there aren't any other suitable sites. So but they're going to have to amend Act 73 to reduce that buffer zone from half a mile to shorter. And if they reduce it from half a mile to a quarter of a mile, then that would change whether or not they can use Amron, which is, over in Kailua. So they would have to change a lot to make that happen. But right now they've got their hands tied. So for now, we're okay, but we could be vulnerable in the future.
Mahalo.
I was on the tour with Esther Kiana and some of the other people, and I think she mentioned that it was a state that you guys had to make the decision about the buffer zone.
Yeah, so this year it did not come up. They did not ask us to reduce the buffer zone.
So the city would have to ask you to
Yes.
reduce it.
Yeah.
Okay, according to her, that they were not going to do that.
The mayor.
City was not.
Yeah, go ahead.
In order for the landfill to be built in Kailua, they have to change the state law. We will fight that. We will fight that change.
Thank you. Okay.
Every time it gets brought up. It was proposed for 1 minute during the legislative session, and actually
Good.
Representative Lee was able to defeat it. So
Great.
the Windward side legislative delegation is united in opposition to changing the law. And
Great.
it will be very difficult for the city to do that as long as we're around.
Okay, that's kind of what she was saying. Yes, thank you very much.
Sorry, I got a cramp.
Yeah.
Hi again.
Huh.
It's Anna Abbey.
Hi, do you have a question?
Well, I just sent a link, and going off of what Jarrett had mentioned in regards to the time is now, I am sending a link of a Kaneohe master plan that was approved by the DLNR state, all the state departments, both Kaneohe and Kahalub community neighborhood boards, that was approved and was supposed to have been rolled out, and nothing was ever done. So I just wanted to leave that with you folks to peruse through, because it's 130 pages, and it's very, very important that we abide by what has already been approved. And so we can, have dialogue later and maybe in the next session, but, this is something that, is important, for our cultural and Kaneohe Bay activities. It affects our entire community. And so that's why it was such a large project back then. So I'm just shocked that nothing was ever followed up with. Maybe part of it was with the
Do you have a
with the fish
question?
ponds.
Is there a question?
Yeah. The question is, when are we going to implement this master plan? That's the question.
Thank
you.
I guess it depends on which part, because many of the parts are being implemented. So if you have a specific, one of the parts that we're struggling with is that the municipal sewer service is prohibited from extending past Ahui Manu. And so that limits the opportunity for us to address the cesspool
Okay.
issue. So if you have specific stuff from the master plan, then we can look directly into it.
Yes, specifically, it would involve the Hei'eakea Pier, the Hei'eakea Valley, the Ulumau Village, and bridging or creating public open spaces, finger piers at King School, Hei'ea State Park for public access and education. Also extending the state park into Hei'ea Valley, like I mentioned earlier. But this is to also provide additional parking because it's completely congested I mean, there was no improvements to the pier area, and everyone's fighting over parking or getting cited by the DLNR for parking illegally, as they say. But it's completely congested. There is fencing. There is
Okay, Anna, I'm
no.
going to stop. Anna, I'm going to stop you right there. I think with all the information that you're providing and your concern, I would recommend at this point that you contact the senator's office directly.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
the link is there. Thank you.
Moving on, any other questions? Moving on to community organizations, I have none listed. Are there any that need to make a report or announcement? Thanks to all who attended. Thanks to all who attended the Windward Emergency Preparedness Fair. A lot of good work, a lot of good information there. Does anyone have any board committee meetings or reports?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I couldn't push my buttons fast enough, but yes,
It's okay.
thank you.
Moving
Please,
forward. Moving forward.
I wanted, okay, that means I can move forward. I
No,
wanted
we're
to
moving.
thank you.
No, we're not. We're not. We are already 20 minutes behind, and so we're moving. We're
All right,
moving
you'll hear
forward.
about it later anyway. It has to do
I'm
with
sure I
board
will.
organization. Yeah, not for me though. That's okay. No problem.
Perfect. Any other board committee report assignments? Yes, Donald.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just want to report that I attended last week, Wednesday, the 7th of May, Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, and their topic was safe street routes for our children at Kiki at schools. And then they talked about bike lanes for Honolulu. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be here on June 19th. I believe today is the 15th. Tomorrow is the last day for elections for voting for your neighborhood board. And we will be here at Windward Community College at Hali'a'o, or you can virtually come to the meeting as you saw from today. That is all that we have for this month's meeting. Thanks everybody for attending. We are adjourned.
Hello.